Michael Knorr with Architecture Minute. Have you ever noticed that the dictators and tyrants of the world have one thing in common? That is bad taste. It seems that the autocrats of the world prefer an architecture that is gauche, excessive, and pretentious. Let's take a look at what these bad guys really like. One of the most notorious living autocrats is Vladimir Putin. He directs his unprovoked attacks on Ukraine from an enormous mega mansion on the Black Sea, far from the battle lines. It is an astonishing 191,000 square feet, plus numerous outbuildings. You heard right, 191,000 square feet for the main house. To be obsessed with size is a typical autocratic trait. In architecture, autocrats aren't concerned with proportion or scale or balance, the normal qualities of good architecture. They are only interested in impressing and intimidating others. They want to vaunt their inflated sense of self-importance. Putin is really no different than a long line of narcissistic, sociopathic autocrats, including the czars that preceded him in Russia. Following in the czarist and Putin-esque style of architecture, the former President of the United States flaunts the same autocratic style. From the penthouse in New York with enough lavish gold-gilt furnishings to make King Midas blush, to the ridiculous Mar-a-Lago in Florida that seems sculpted of pink whipped cream and is tricked out with faux high style from the multiple King Louis of France. All autocrats follow the same pattern. Saddam Hussain spread his architectural seed with multiple mansions throughout Iraq, none of them with any sense of architecture, but all of them built to impress through great size and lavish decorating. This is one point to emphasize. The architecture loved by autocrats is decorated, not designed. In other words, preposterous symbols of wealth and power are layered on top of surfaces, but the surfaces themselves have no style. As you might expect, the aesthetic values are paper thin, almost non-existent. A common trait is the application of gold at every opportunity. Gold is wealth, wealth is power. That's why the former president announced his candidacy descending to the assembled press on a golden escalator. Another common trait is over-the-top interior decorating. One could try to identify the exact style that autocrats seem to prefer, but I just call it, to use a technical term, goopy. Overdone, overwrought, goopy decorating. Autocrats should be judged by their actions, but if you want to determine if there's an autocrat amongst us, look at the architecture that they prefer.